Hello and welcome back to On the Daily, and we are back with another Q&A episode. So I asked what you wanted to know, you told me what you wanted to know, and now I'm going to give you the answers. So if you have participated in any of my Q&As over on Instagram over the last couple of weeks, then listen in because your question might be answered today. Here we go. One thing I've really been trying to do is grow this podcast kind of like into delusional level. I'm super inspired by like what Alex Cooper has done with Call Her Daddy and just like grown it into this like empire. And that's a big goal that I have for this podcast. So in order for me to get this podcast out to more people, it needs engagement and it needs reviews. And so if you love what you hear and you've been here for a while and you have a couple seconds, if you could just go and write a review and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts for me for this show. Spotify is great, but it's not how we track our analytics as podcasters. We track them through Apple Podcasts. So if you go to Apple Podcasts and scroll to the bottom of the On the Daily show, you'll see like a place to leave a 5-star review. And I would be so, so, so grateful. So thank you in advance. Okay. The first question was all about portals, like the 8-8 portal, the 9-9 portal, the 10-10 portal, the 11-11 portal, the 12-12 portal. So like when the month and the day match. Okay. And obviously numerology is a real thing. And so, different numbers have different meaning. And I don't think that like certain number, there's people that are like, oh, what does 333 mean when you see it on the microwave? I don't think that 333 means the same to everybody. I think it has general themes and every number has a different archetype, which this is not a numerology episode, but I could do one if you wanted one. Every number has like a different archetype, but how you perceive it and what it means for you is going to be different depending on who you are and what you're going through. So I don't think that like the 10-10 portal, October 10th or the November 11th portal, I don't think it's going to affect everyone differently. And the way that I like to look at them all, every time there's like a number portal like that, is I like to look at what season we're in. So for example, the 10-10 portal, that's during Libra season. So I'm going to go and I'm going to look at my astrology chart and I'm going to say like, okay, where is Libra for me? Libra's my 12th house. That's the house of spirituality. It's the house of my spiritual gifts. It's the house of like past wounding, childhood trauma. And I am going to feel into that. So like around the 10-10 portal, like my spiritual gifts were upgrading like a lot. And I was really channeling like a lot of messages through tarot specifically, like my tarot gifts were opening up and I was just having a lot more intuitive pings. And that was very normal around that time. Now 11-11 is November. It's Scorpio season and I am a Scorpio rising, Mars and Pluto. So Scorpio, I have a stellium that rules my first house, all about transformation and personality. So there's a lot of like personal upgrades that I make during that time. 12-12 is during my sun season. I'm a stellium Sag. I have 5 or 6 planets in Sagittarius in my second house. So like the 12-12 portal is typically like a big money month for me. So if there's ever like a portal, you should really go and look at your chart specifically and see what season we're in and where that lies in your astrology chart for how maybe that portal will affect you. Next question was, we'll do a couple more. There was a question about tips for manifestors and like the difference between generators and manifestors. So manifestors and generators have a very different energy type. Generators, we have a sacral battery that literally when we are excited, we fill up. Our battery fills up. When we're in joy, we fill up. When we're not in joy, we bring sunshine or we bring rain clouds. And if you think about like the best way I can describe the difference between the 5 human design types is like if we describe parts of a car. So projectors or manifestors, you are the ignition. The car literally cannot start without you. You are the igniter. My projectors, you are the steering wheel. The car literally cannot drive without you. We have no direction without you. My generators and manifesting generators, we are the engine of the car. So the car literally cannot run without us. Like the engine, like without the engine, the car does not run. And reflectors are the rear view mirror. So without the rear view mirror, we can't see what's behind us. We can't be aware of our surroundings, right? It could be the side mirrors as well. It's the mirrors in the car. Every part of that is so important and it's so valuable, but they offer very, very different energies. So manifestors, you are the spark. When you move, we move, right? You're not the engine. If we ask the igniter to act as the engine, the car would blow up because it just doesn't have that type of energy. The generators we can keep the car running, but we can't start the car. We don't have that kind of energy. And so it's just really important for you to know, like, the difference between these human design types are so important to understand, but also not just for yourself and how your energy is meant to operate, but also from the perspective of how you fit into the collective, right? Manifestors are the fire starters. You are the igniters of the collective. When you move, we move. Generators and manifesting generators, we are the engine. We are the ones that are like, when we have energy, that energy spills out and can be utilized by the collective. We keep the collective moving and running. Projectors are the guides and the leaders and the architects of the new paradigm, the ones that are here to drive us into the new paradigm. Reflectors are the ones who are like, right, but who are we now? Like, you're the awareness that, like, we all came from something and you're here to keep us moving and constant and aware and discerning, right? So that's, like, I would say the biggest differences between all the different types. And then there was a question about deconditioning. How would you use your human design to decondition your body image? So this is really, I would look at like where Venus is for you. I would look at like where, if you have an undefined identity center and you had parents, or maybe you were a dancer. Okay. So if I'm going to put a hypothetical out there, let's say you're a dancer, you grew up a dancer or a model or a ballerina of some sort, something where your body was hyperfixated on. You have an undefined identity center. So like sense of direction, who you are, knowing who you are is already open for conditioning. And then let's say you had teachers or parents that constantly were commenting on your weight, constantly commenting on like, oh, are you sure you want to eat that? Like I had my mom used to constantly comment on my body and like tell me that like I was looking a little chunky, or like she would like squeeze my like sides and be like, oh, are you sure you want to eat that? And I'm not blaming my mom. Like, yeah, that obviously that's fucked up, but like also like that's the treatment she got from her mom. So that was just generational trauma being passed down. Now I have a defined identity center. So like that stuff didn't really affect me. And if it did, I was able to like really grind back down, or like anchor back down into who I am. If you have an undefined identity center, there's a lot of conditioning there. So whoever somebody told you that you are, there's probably a chance that you believed it. And this can happen with body image. This can happen with like how smart you think you are, how pretty you think you are, how valuable you think you are. If you have an undefined spleen, sometimes there's like a lack of awareness, or there's conditioning around like what is healthy. So maybe you ended up with like an eating disorder or something. And if you have an undefined spleen, there's probably a lot of conditioning there as to looking outside of yourself for like what is healthy for your body. So you may have to work on deconditioning that part of your body. So really the deconditioning process, no matter what your deconditioning, is going to be the same. Regardless of what it is that you're deconditioning, you're going to have to look at the centers that are undefined and where you might have received conditioning in that center and go back to the root of that. The deconditioning process is so important. And this is why Break the Matrix, which is my program about the deconditioning process, it's literally meant to help you decondition all of the things that your brain tells you that you're not good enough. It is literally meant to decondition through the lens of human design and astrology, and then somatic work to help you move forward and create the life that you want. Because the whole concept of it, the entire motto of Break the Matrix, is when you know yourself, you win. And so if the deconditioning process is something that you struggle with, Break the Matrix is the most epic and perfect course for you. And I highly, highly recommend it. It will be coming back on Black Friday. Make sure you're on the wait list, because anyone on the waitlist will get the exclusive pre-sale early bird discount before it goes live to the general public. So make sure you get on the waitlist for that. If you need to know how to get on the waitlist for that, send me a DM and I'll send you a link. Okay, I'm going to stop there. A few questions answered for you today. And I'll be back with another episode next week. Love ya.